All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for listening. I want to, first of all, give thanks to our God, Creator, for allowing me to speak today. And I hope that what I say here today may have some bearing on Black people's mindset. The subject of this video today, once again, let me introduce myself. My name is Bobby Collier. I represent the House of Common Sense, uh, and I'm authorized representative for 808 Talking Straight. Uh, I'm not a minister that begging or asking for finances. I thank God that I have been able to sustain, and God have helped me broaden my ministry. Um, it is growing, and I'm learning as I go. um, Once again, I'm Bobby Collier. I'll be your host today, uh, representing the House of Common Sense. You don't have to have a lot of education to understand me. But today I'm gonna get right into the subject. Uh, 50 years after MLK, in my opinion, now what I say here today is just simply my opinion. All right, that's all it is, just my personal opinion on how I feel on the matter. Now, some of the things that I'm going to say today, you may not like hearing them. All right, and you may not like me. Now, I'm not too concerned about either one, but you might have to agree with me on some of the things I'm going to say here today. You know, if you use common sense, okay. The subject today is 50 years after MLK. In my opinion, equal sadness. Sadness within the people he was fighting for. He was actually fighting for equal rights for Black people, so-called colored people, okay? Afro American, African American, Black, Negroes, nigger, all right? All the names that they have given us, that's who MLK, Martin Luther King, was out there on the front lines for, okay? And he the last Black man that had a movement going worldwide that was active, okay? So we just celebrated the 50 years. Now that's not a celebration, that's a sadness, in my opinion. We are celebrating the sadness of a great black leader that was chopped down, killed by white supremacists. Okay, all right. That's a sadness celebration. Okay, see, and what he was fighting for was something that we have all was already supposed to have had in the 14th Amendment. The rights that he was fighting for should have already been granted under citizenship, under the 14th Amendment, Section 1. See, if you're a citizen, you got all rights that is legal within the state, within that country. And that country at the time was the United States of America. So if you're a citizen, you don't, if you're a citizen, you shouldn't have any restrictions. See, and this shines a light on white supremacists and how prejudiced they are. They don't want to abide by their own laws. Okay. But see, what black people did not understand, all right, is that you were an emancipated citizen. And emancipation within citizenship does not give you equal citizenship. Why? Because you were the offspring of an enslaved person. You were in that bloodline in that generation. See, so the 14th Amendment didn't give us freedom. The 14th Amendment was just an exchange from individual ownership of slaves to federal and state ownership. See, so 50 years after Martin Luther King equals sadness, when we look at the progression that have been made after that. At that particular time, black people still own one half, what I would say less than one half or 1% of the total wealth in this country at that particular time. Today, black people still own less than one half or 1% of the total wealth in this country. So we haven't really moved economically. That's sad. Now, some want to say that we made a lot of progress due to the fact that we went from the balcony in Memphis, Tennessee, where Dr. Martin Luther King got shot, to the White House. All right, saying that we never stopped fighting. No, we didn't, but seemed like the fight hadn't done that much good. some people might think the debt has been paid for what white folks have done to black folks because they allow us to have a black president. But let's stop right there for a minute. All right. Black people have been the head in many local, state, and federal government has been the head in the office, they've been mayors, they've been senators, okay? They've been on the city commission, city council, they in the House of Representatives, you know. But the condition of black people didn't get any better overall, or a few might have climbed up the ladder, but systematically for our people financially after 50 years, it's still negative. And we still the first to be fired and the last to be hired. Our cry is still job injustice. Our men and women are being killed by people that's supposed to be protecting them, the police. When you get stopped right now as a black person by a state trooper or a local police officer, a sheriff, you don't know whether or not you're going to live through it or not. When you live there on that surgery table and they got your life into their hands, you don't really know whether you're going to live or not. All right. So when you ask me, and this is my personal opinion, I'm afraid of white folks. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm afraid of the police. I'm afraid of the doctors, and some of the lawyers are shit you too. See, so when we look back 50 years, look at our progress within those 50 years, it's sad. All right, we did have a so-called black president, Barack Hussein Obama, but blacks' financial or economical condition didn't change. Okay, Barack Obama was not a thoroughbred black man. What I mean by that, he didn't have a black mother and father. It was 50-50. Obama was created in the womb and came through the womb of a white woman. It makes him predominantly white because his body was developed in the womb, the belly of a white woman. He is more white than he is black. It's just my personal opinion because the child develops inside of the woman. So that child got more woman blood in them. Okay, energy in them. That child is growing in that woman's body. Let's use common sense here now. That woman is his first teacher. He's living off of the energy that's coming from the diet of his mother. So Obama was not what you might say completely black, right? So we didn't really get a predominantly black president. Let's just don't get things mixed up now. We didn't get a predominantly black president. Okay, we'd have had Clyde Claiborne burn in there. That's a black, sure enough, black man. He's black as such. All right. We'd have got Herman Cain in there. Okay. All right. Even if we'd have got Ben Carson in there, I mean, those are predominantly black men, in my opinion. Okay. Somebody that's got a black mom and a black dad would be a first black president. I don't want to make nobody mad. Okay. So we had, if you want to say, we had a black president. Okay, I'll go along with that. All right. I'll go along with that. All right. You want to look over the other things. All right. I'll go along with that. All right. But and we had it for 8 years. But the condition of black people uh, did not, did not, did not change. Okay. Now we got a social change uh, through the Obama administration. Okay. We got a social change. But we didn't need a social change. Okay. We did not need a social change. Okay. We needed, as black people, a economical change. See, we didn't need we didn't need no social change. We needed an economical change. We needed justice, a change in justice. Black people were getting gunned down by the police left and right on the Obama administration, just like they're getting gunned down left and right on the President Trump administration. All right, but you got to realize something. Obama created an act to protect the dreamers. Okay, so they wouldn't be sent back to their country. He didn't create an act to protect black folks from being killed by the law. I'm just saying. I don't want to make nobody mad. So the progress we didn't progress. We did not progress. We did not progress under the Obama administration. If you want to say, well, we had a black president, but that didn't have much success because you didn't gain nothing from having a black president. So that was you might want to call that a stalemate. So 50 years after MLK, to me, equal sadness when we really look at the progress. All right, we got an 80% out of wedlock birth among our black people today. That's 80% out of wedlock birth, and it is rising. Okay, that means that for every 10 women's that you see, 8 of them have anywhere from 1 to 10 children, and she is trying to raise them by herself. So that means every 10 kids that you see out here on the street, every 10 black kids that you see out here on the street, 8 of them is being brought up by a single mother or father. All right. Our family structure is not the same as it was during the years of Martin Luther King. We have lose ground in our family structure because without a mother and a father there in the house with the kids, there's no basically there's little or no family structure. See, so when we look at back 50 years since Martin Luther King got murdered, all right, it's sad. See, now Martin Luther King had some coons in his organization. Because first of all, he shouldn't have been out on the balcony in the beginning. That somebody in his group knew what was going to happen, and they basically wanted to sort of take his place because he wasn't supposed to be on the balcony. Don't you know that they were out to kill him? Didn't you know that? Why would you put him in harm's way? If he was on the balcony, his men should have been around him. Where was his security? Hmm? Y'all talk trash about Farrakhan, but when Farrakhan out in the openings, his men have him surrounded. Hmm? They're just common sense. All right. Now, when you look at the prosperity of the members of his entourage, the people that was with him, all right, when you look at the progress of them and how they moved up in politics, some of them got fat in politics after MLK got killed. But that's a whole different subject. But I just want y'all to think 50 years after Martin Luther King's death, in my opinion, is sad when we look at the progress of our people. And I'm going to close with this. My time is about up. Pants on the ground. Look at our young folks. Look at our young men. This is the seed that's going to grow our next generation. They're walking around with their pants on the ground. I won't make nobody mad. Drawers showing and drawers dirty. They probably ain't changed drawers in about 2 or 3 days because they can't afford to. Because when you wearing your pants on the ground, evidently you ain't got enough money to buy a belt. I don't want to make nobody mad. If you wearing your pants on the ground, you must be poor because you ain't got enough money to buy a belt or a pair of suspenders. Okay? What kind of 50 years after Martin Luther King death, we got our young men right now walking around with their pants on the ground. Some of them don't even know nothing about it. MLK. If you ask them who was Martin Luther King, they couldn't even tell you because they don't know nothing about their black history. Doesn't even matter to them. Well, when you look at that, then what do you think about their parents? Because see now these are our kids now that's just walking around like this. See, so what about their parents? That says something right there about their parents and how they grew up. Well, how do you think they grew up? Most of them grew up in a single parent home, living with their auntie or living with their grandma. Sometimes grandparents have to raise kids now because you got children having children. So what can you expect? See, 50 years after Martin Luther King death, our people is having reckless sexual behavior and children's being born. When do you know why that they keep funding Planned Parenthood? They keep funding Planned Parenthood because the overall majority of the abortions that parent um, the Planned Parenting perform, the majority of the abortions are black. women's, teenagers, women that are in their 20s and 30s. Hmm? You know who started Planned Parenthood? Martha Sanger. That who said that black people wouldn't was nothing but human weeds. WEEDS. And you know what weed does? They pop up and sprout up everywhere. That's what she said black people were. All right. And right now I know she clapping her hand because due to our sexual behavior, that's what's happening. So when we look back 50 years, our family structure is crumbling. Folks don't want to get married. They want children, but they don't want to live in the house with them. So they either get rid of them or put them up for adoption or sell them. That's going on too. Sometimes even kill them. Black men don't want to be responsible anymore. Okay, they don't want any commitments anymore. They want to be free. We don't trust each other. See, all that trickled down from slavery, distrust. All right, you can't have a marriage or solid relationship with distrust. See, so when we look back 50 years now, in my opinion, it's sadness. Family structure broken, just about already all almost broken down. 80% out of wedlock birth. Hmm? Young man's wearing the pants on the ground. Young women's letting it all hang out. Okay? A so-called black president who had 2 terms, no progress for blacks, not even an act. Okay? Never gotten equal rights according to the 14th Amendment. Never was classified as a full-fledged citizen. 50 years after Martin Luther King's death. In my opinion, sad. My name is Bobby Collier. I represent the House of Common Sense. You don't have to have a lot of education to understand me. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Okay, like, dislike, agree, disagree, comment. It's on you. You'll be blessed. And thank you for listening.